Kotyhoroshko. Chapter 1. The Family and the Serpent's Trap.
Once upon a time, there lived a man and a woman. They were very happy because they had 6 sons and 1 daughter named Olenka. They lived together in peace. But it was a big family, so there was a lot of work to do. Spring came, and it was time to plant seeds. These small things grow into food for the winter. The brothers prepared to go to the field. They said, "Mother, Father, we are going to work until sunset. And you, Olenka, please bring us lunch at noon." "But brothers, how will I find you?" Olenka asked. "The field is very big." "Don't worry," the brothers said. "We will use a plow to cut the ground. It will leave a long line from our house to the field. Just follow that line and you will not get lost." They left for work. But a hungry serpent lived in the dark forest. He was a giant, scary snake with eyes like fire. He saw the line on the ground and was angry. He moved his heavy tail and destroyed their line. Then the monster made his own line. It led straight to his iron palace. Olenka walked out with bread and milk. She followed the line deeper and deeper into the dark forest. Finally, she stood before a tall iron gate. These were the giant doors to the palace. There, the serpent caught her. Evening came. The sons returned home, hungry and tired. They said, "Mother, why didn't you send us lunch? We are very hungry." The mother was shocked and scared. "What do you mean?" she asked. "Olenka left with food this morning. I thought she was with you on the wagons." The brothers understood that something bad had happened. All 6 of them grabbed their sticks and went to find their sister. They followed the dark line until they reached the serpent's palace. Olenka ran out to meet them. "Run away, my dear brothers," she cried. "The serpent is coming, and he will kill you." Suddenly, they heard a loud sound like thunder. The serpent arrived. "Ah, I smell humans," he said. "Did you come to fight or to make peace?" "To fight," the brothers shouted, but they were very afraid. They went to the iron floor to start the battle. This was a big fight between the boys and the monster, but the serpent was too strong. He breathed fire and chained all 6 brothers to the floor. Then he threw them into a deep, dark prison.
Chapter 2. The Birth of a Hero.
The father and mother waited for their sons for a long time, but the house was empty and quiet. One day, the mother went to the river. Suddenly, she saw a small pea rolling on the road. It was a tiny, round green vegetable. She picked it up and ate it. And what do you think happened? Soon, a son was born to her. They named him Kotyhoroshko. The boy grew very fast, not by days, but by hours. Soon he was so big and strong that the house felt too small for him. One day, he and his father began to dig a well. This is a deep hole in the ground to get water. They found a huge stone. It was so heavy that 10 men could not move it. While the father went to find neighbors for help, Kotyhoroshko picked up the stone. He threw it away like a piece of dust. The neighbors came, looked at the boy, and became very afraid. "What kind of child is this?" they asked. They were scared of his strength, so they quickly went back to their homes. They continued to dig and found a huge piece of iron under the earth. Kotyhoroshko carried the heavy metal home. In the evening, he asked, "Mother, Father, why is our house so quiet? Am I your only child?" Sadly, the parents told him about Olenka and his 6 brothers in the serpent's prison. The boy was very angry. "I must save my family," he said. "Father, take this iron and make me a mace. This is a heavy club used as a weapon." He went to the blacksmith. "This is a man who works with fire and metal." The blacksmith worked for a long time in his shop. Finally, the weapon was ready. Kotyhoroshko took the mace and threw it high into the sky. "I will go to sleep now," he said. "Wake me up in 12 days when it falls back down." 12 days passed. On the 13th day, the sky began to roar with a loud noise. The father woke up his son. Kotyhoroshko jumped up and held out his little finger. Crash! The mace hit his finger and broke in half. "No," the boy said, "this is too weak. Make it stronger." The second mace was even bigger. Again it flew into the sky. When it returned on the 13th day, the earth shook. Kotyhoroshko held out his finger. The mace hit it and only bent a little. "Now this is a real weapon," he said. "Mother, prepare some food for me. It is time to find the enemy." He put the mace on his shoulder and walked toward the dark forest where the sun sets.
Chapter 3: The Iron Floor and the Great Victory.
Kotyhoroshko walked for a long time through deep valleys and thick forests. Finally, he saw a familiar path. It was the old line on the ground. It led him to the Serpent's huge palace. The boy entered the house. It was quiet and empty. Only one girl sat there and cried. "Hello," Kotyhoroshko said. Olenka looked at him and trembled. She was shaking because she was very afraid. "Run away," she said. "When the Serpent returns, he will kill you. He stole me and threw my 6 brothers into a dark prison." "Do not be afraid," the hero said with a smile. "Maybe I can take you home." He sat by the window, put his mace on his knees, and waited. Suddenly, whoosh! The sky turned dark, the wind whistled, and the walls shook. The Serpent flew into the house and sniffed the air. "Ha! I smell a human." "Of course you do," Kotyhoroshko answered, "because I am here." "Well, boy," the monster said, "did you come to fight or to make peace?" "I did not come for peace. Let's fight," Kotyhoroshko said. "Then let's go to the iron floor," the Serpent shouted. "This was a special place for a big fight. I will kill you there." They went out on the iron floor. The Serpent said, "You strike first." But Kotyhoroshko answered, "No, you strike first." The Serpent struck so hard that he pushed the boy into the iron up to his ankles. Kotyhoroshko pulled his legs out, swung his mace, clang, and hit the Serpent into the floor up to his knees. The monster became angry and struck again. He pushed the hero into the floor up to his knees. But then Kotyhoroshko took a deep breath. He remembered his mother, his father, and his home. He struck a second time. The Serpent went into the floor up to his waist. And when he struck the third time, the Serpent was finished. Evil was gone. Kotyhoroshko ran to the deep prison and broke the heavy locks. His brothers were there, pale and weak. They could barely see the sun. The hero took his brothers, took Olenka, and took the Serpent's gold and silver. Together they all started their journey home.
Chapter 4: Betrayal and a New Path.
They walked along the road as the sun began to set. Kotyhoroshko was silent. He did not tell his brothers who he was. They decided to rest under a large oak tree. Our hero was very tired, so he fell into a deep sleep. But the 6 brothers were not grateful. They did not want to say thank you. They whispered, "People will laugh at us. 6 of us could not beat the serpent, but this boy did it alone and took the gold." They decided to do something evil. While Kotyhoroshko was sleeping, they tied him to the old oak tree. They made many knots so he could not move a finger. They left him there and walked away. Kotyhoroshko slept for a long time. When he woke, he could not move. He saw the ropes and felt very sad. He used all his hero strength. Crack! The tree roots jumped out of the ground. He did not untie the ropes. He put the whole tree on his shoulder and walked home. He reached his house and heard his brothers asking, "Mother, did you have other children?" The mother cried, "Yes, your brother Kotyhoroshko. He went to save you, but he is lost." The brothers turned white with fear. They understood their mistake. Suddenly, Kotyhoroshko threw the huge tree at the house. "Stay here, since you are so ungrateful," he shouted. "I don't need your gold." He put his mace on his shoulder and walked away into the wide world. He went to find true friends with honor, people who are honest and good. He did not want to live with jealousy.
Chapter 5. The Heroic Friendship.
Kotyhoroshko walked through the world with his mace. Suddenly he saw something amazing. A giant man stood between 2 mountains. He pushed one mountain with his hands and the other with his feet. He was moving them apart, and stones fell everywhere. "God help you! What is your name, and what are you doing?" Kotyhoroshko asked. "I am making a free path for the people," the giant said. "My name is Vernihora. This name means one who moves mountains. I am going to find my happiness." "Let's go together," said Kotyhoroshko. They walked through a thick forest and saw another strange man. Every time he moved his hand, old oak trees flew out of the ground like dandelions. "God help you! Who are you?" "I am Vernidub. This name means one who pulls out oaks. I pull out trees to make the path wider. I am going to find my happiness." "Then join us," the friends said. Now 3 of them were walking together. They came to a wide river. On the bank sat a man with very long whiskers. These were the long hairs on his face under his nose. He moved one whisker, and the water opened. "What is your name?" they asked. "I am Kotyvus," he said. "This name means one who twists whiskers. I move the water so I can walk on dry land. I am going to find my happiness." "Then come with us, Kozak." Now 4 of them walked together. When they found a mountain, Vernihora moved it. When the forest was too thick, Vernidub cleared the path. When the river was too deep, Kotyvus moved the water. Finally, they saw a small house in the forest. They went inside. No one was there, but the stove was warm. This was a stone oven for cooking and heating. "We will stay here tonight, brothers," Kotyhoroshko said, "and tomorrow we will continue our journey."
Chapter 6. A Little Old Man.
In the morning, Kotyhoroshko said, "Vernihora, you stay here. Cook a big lunch, and the 3 of us will go hunting in the forest." Vernihora cooked a big pot of food. Then he lay down to rest. Suddenly, knock, knock, knock. "Open the door," a high voice shouted. "You are not a king," Vernihora answered. "Open it yourself." The door opened. A tiny voice spoke again. "Help me across the doorstep." "You can climb over it yourself," the giant laughed. Suddenly, a little old man crawled into the house. He was very tiny, but his beard was incredibly long. It dragged behind him on the floor. Before Vernihora could move, the little man grabbed the giant's hair. Zap! He hung the giant on a nail on the wall like a light piece of cloth. Vernihora tried to move, but he was stuck. The little man ate all the lunch, cut a strip of skin from the giant's back, and disappeared. Vernihora finally got free and quickly cooked again. When his friends returned, they asked why lunch was late. "I fell asleep," Vernihora said. He was ashamed. He felt bad because a giant like him was beaten by a tiny man, and now he had to lie to his friends. The next day, Vernidub stayed at home. Bang, bang, the little man came again. Before Vernidub could blink, he was hanging on the nail. The old man ate the lunch and cut his skin. When the friends returned, Vernidub also said he fell asleep. Vernihora was silent because he knew the truth. On the third day, the little man hung Krutivus on the nail too. The giants were quiet and hid their eyes. Finally, Kotyhoroshko said, "Well, brothers, you are too lazy to cook. You don't want to work. You go hunting tomorrow, and I will stay at home." Kotyhoroshko cooked the food and waited. Suddenly, bam, bam! He opened the door and helped the little man inside. But the tiny man was angry and tried to grab the hero's hair. "Oh, so that's how you are," Kotyhoroshko laughed. He grabbed the old man by his beard and dragged him to a large oak tree. He used an axe to split the wood. This was a sharp tool for cutting trees. He trapped the long beard inside the wood. "Sit here," he said, "and think about your behavior." The friends returned and were surprised to see lunch ready. After they ate, Kotyhoroshko said, "Come with me. I will show you the wonder I tied to a tree." But the tree and the little man were gone. There was only a big hole in the ground. The little man was so strong that he pulled the whole tree out of the earth with his beard. Then the friends finally told the truth. They stopped lying and told Kotyhoroshko that the little man had beaten them before. "Well," said Kotyhoroshko, "if he has such strength, he is no ordinary man. Let's follow him. We must stop this."
Chapter 7. Journey to the Other World.
The friends followed the mark in the ground until they reached a huge abyss. It was a hole so deep and dark that the earth looked like it had opened its mouth. Kotyhoroshko said, "Well, Vernihora, you go down. You move mountains, after all." "No way," he answered, stepping back. "I like mountains, not holes." Krituvus and Vernidub were also afraid to jump into the darkness. "Oh, you guys," Kotyhoroshko sighed. "I have to do it myself." The friends made long ropes. Kotyhoroshko tied one end to his hand and told them to lower him down. They wanted him to move him slowly toward the bottom using the ropes. They lowered him for a long time, maybe to the center of the earth, until his feet touched the bottom. There he saw a real other world. Our hero walked and suddenly saw a palace. It was so beautiful that it was hard to believe. Everything was made of pure gold, and precious stones on the walls sparkled like stars. He entered the hall, and a girl ran out to meet him. She was more beautiful than anyone in the world. She had blue eyes and golden hair. "Run away," she whispered. "A terrible old man lives here." "I am looking for him," Kotyhoroshko smiled. "I am the one who trapped his beard." This girl was a princess. The evil man had kidnapped her. He took her away from her home by force and kept her as a prisoner. She led the hero to the back rooms. There sat the little old man, breathing with rage. "Ah, you came. So what will it be? To fight or to make peace?" the monster shouted. "Only to fight," Kotyhoroshko answered. He swung his mace. Boom! The battle was short. He defeated the old man with one blow. He won the fight and destroyed the enemy completely. Then he and the princess took 3 bags of gold and went to the rope that hung from our world.
Chapter 8, A Stone Instead of a Heart.
Kotyhoroshko came to the rope and shouted, "Hey, brothers, are you there?" "We are here," a dull echo came from above. It was the sound of their voices reflecting off the dark stone walls. Kotyhoroshko tied the first bag of gold to the rope and pulled it. "Pull it up. This is for you, brothers." They pulled the bag up and lowered the rope again. He tied the second bag with precious stones. "This is for you, too." They lowered the rope a third time, and he gave them the last of the gold. He gave them everything and kept nothing for himself. Then he brought the princess, carefully tied her to the rope, and said, "And this is my happiness. Pull carefully." The giants pulled her up. Her beauty was amazing, but envy whispered in their ears. They felt a bad desire to have what Kotyhoroshko had. They started a dark conversation. "Why should we pull him up?" they said. "We can keep the gold and the princess." They decided to pull him almost to the top and then let go of the rope. They wanted him to fall into the abyss and die. But Kotyhoroshko was not only strong, he was also wise. He was smart and understood that his friends might trick him. He felt the rope shaking strangely. Instead of sitting on the rope, he tied a huge stone to it and shouted, "Pull me up, brothers." The 3 giants pulled hard. When the stone was close to the top, snap! They let go of the rope. The stone fell and hit the ground with a loud boom. The earth shook under the hero's feet. Our hero looked at the broken stone. He felt very sad in his heart. "Well," he said quietly, "you are good friends. Let God be your judge." He put his mace on his shoulder and walked alone through the underground world. Ahead was the unknown, and behind him was betrayal.
Chapter 9, The Griffin and the Way to the Sky.
Kotyhoroshko walked through the underground world, sad and lonely. Suddenly, a terrible storm began, with rain and hail. This was a storm where small balls of ice fell from the sky. The hero hid under an oak tree. He heard a tiny sound, beep, beep, beep. He looked up and saw a nest with baby griffins. They were shaking and freezing. Kotyhoroshko took off his coat, climbed the tree, and covered the babies. He stayed in the rain himself to protect the birds. The storm passed, and the sun appeared. Then the sky began to roar. A huge bird, the griffin, was flying. This was a magical bird, a monster that was part lion and part eagle. Its wings were like sails, and its eyes were big and bright. He saw his children under the coat and asked, "Children, who saved you from death?" The babies looked out from under the coat. "Look, father, a man is sitting under the oak tree. He covered us." The griffin landed near Kotyhoroshko. "Thank you, kind man. Usually the rain kills my babies while I'm flying. Ask for anything." "I have only one wish," Kotyhoroshko said. "Carry me back to the upper world." The griffin became serious. "You ask for a difficult thing, But because you saved my children, I will do it. But you must prepare 6 large barrels of meat and 6 barrels of water. When I fly and turn my head to the right, give me a piece of meat. When I turn my head to the left, give me some water. The journey is very long. If I do not eat and drink, we will both fall." Kotyhoroshko prepared everything. He sat on the strong back of the giant bird. The griffin flapped his wings. The wind whistled in Kotyhoroshko's ears. They flew through the darkness, up toward the sun and the blue sky.
Chapter 10. The Great Forgiveness.
They flew and they flew. They flew through the clouds. When the griffin turned his head to the right, Kotyhoroshko gave him meat. When he turned to the left, he gave him water. They flew for a long time. The sky became brighter and the air smelled like home. Suddenly, the griffin turned his head again, but the barrels were empty. There was not a single piece of meat left. The griffin became weak. His wings did not beat as strongly as before. Kotyhoroshko understood if he did not feed the bird now, they would both fall into the abyss. Without a second thought, he took his knife, cut a small piece of meat from his own leg, and threw it into the bird's mouth. With his last strength, the griffin flapped his wings, and they flew out into the upper world. They stepped onto the green grass, and the sun embraced them. The griffin asked, "What was that delicious thing you gave me at the end? I have never tasted anything like it." Kotyhoroshko showed his leg and the wound. This was the deep, painful cut on his skin. The griffin bowed his head. He spat out the piece of meat, flew to a healing spring, and brought back magic water. As soon as the water touched the wound, it healed completely. The hero said goodbye to the bird and went to find his friends. They were living in the royal palace, having a great feast. But there was no peace between them. They argued and fought because each of them wanted to marry the princess. But she refused. She was waiting for her real savior. Suddenly, the door opened and Kotyhoroshko entered. His mace was on his shoulder and his eyes were bright. When the giants saw him, they turned white with fear. They trembled and hid under the tables. They thought their end had come. But Kotyhoroshko looked at them and said, "Oh, boys, my own brothers betrayed me, so what can I say to you? I will not be angry with you. Let God be your judge." He forgave them all. He and the princess had a wedding so grand that people still remember it today. And they lived happily ever after. Because true strength is not only in the hands, but also in the heart that can forgive.
That is the end of Kotyhoroshko's journey. If you enjoyed this story, please like the video and subscribe to the channel. This helps our channel grow so we can tell you more amazing legends. See you in the next stories.